Just wanted to run through the key points for doing TIG welding on outside body panels and how to achieve a nice weld with the least amount of distortion. You would have seen on the previous video that we did the right hand quarter on the 66 Mustang and it came up quite reasonable. There was a few comments and questions about the steel wire that I use, and I think it's a good idea for me to just run through what the important things are to make to be able to make that TIG weld happen and be as little cleanup as possible, and also achieve the as little distortion as possible as well. So first of all, just going to look at the aftermarket panels. It's one of them there. So these are never ever made to be exact fit. They always need massaging. Doesn't matter whether they come out of America or whether you get them in Australia. Most of them are stamped out in Taiwan anyway. So the edges aren't really correct. These ones come with a rebate at the top, which is where they, you know, in a lot of cases guys will overlap the metal so that it gives them a easier weld process. But I'm really against that because it produces corrosion when you've got lapped metal like that. So we do the butt weld. So I'm going to show you how to actually mark it to get the joins so that there's no air gap. I've had questions in the comments section before about how do you achieve that, and I just wanted to show a bit of a detail on that and see if it can help some of you people out with your restorations. So first of all, just looking at the area that's going to be done. So this is the area that we're looking at. This is the left hand side of the Mustang. Both sides needed doing because of the problem with the wheel arches being cut open. Just show you that when this overlaps, we've got a blue mark. We use a blue marker. It's just permanent pen from the cheapie shop to mark the width that's approximately in line with where the cut is. We do the cut with the grinder first on the quarter panel. That is acceptable, but the cuts from then on will proceed as I show you in this video. So I'm just going to clamp it into position, get a decent look at it. Bear with me while I get the clamp sword. I'm going to disappear. To make sure your panel's fitting correctly, we have put the inside boot section in the floor here, so it's all new on that side, and it gives us the parameter for this panel to sit on and make sure it goes into place correctly. So I need one other clamp. Just bear with me a second, grab a clamp. So we're making sure that we push the panel into where it's supposed to go to. You need the panel to fit as if it was going to be or already welded in. You need to make sure all these joins around here are sitting where they're supposed to sit, and also the joins on the base of the panel where it sits at the base and around the wheel arch has got to be done as well. Make sure it's all fitting tight as if it was welded in. Then we're going to scribe that with a scriber. So I'm using the really sharp pointy end. We don't want any deflection, you know, to move the point away from the edge. We want it to be exact. A little bit of pressure on the outside, not too much. You don't want to be pushing up against it and pushing the panel in. You want it to be sitting where it needs to sit. And we just run the scribe over the blue dye marker pen. sure you support the panel from the outside so it doesn't move. If you get a little bit, if you push too hard it pulls away and that gives you a distorted line. If you push too far in it goes too far over and gives you a distorted line. You need to be exactly nice and smooth and flat, which you can see there, there's no deflection in that. We'll just do it again to make sure we've got a mark. I'll just have a double check on the outside to make sure it's sitting where we want it to sit. Yep, that's very good. So we can release that now, pull it away from the edge, and we'll get a definitive line. And that line is exactly the trace of where the actual grinders cut the line. There may be a few little deviations in it, but as we cut the replacement panel, I'll show you how to get it as accurate as possible. Release that. So you can see there, we've got the scribed line, and the blue dye helps you to see it accurately so that we can trim it okay. Right, just turn the camera around. So we need to trim the excess first. If we trim this excess first, then we've got a situation where there's very little metal off the edge of the actual line cut, and we cut the rest of it with tin snips. So we only cut the line with tin snips. If you use a grinder, I don't care how good you are, to get it accurate is impossible, especially if the grinder's spinning at 10,000 RPM. I use slower grinders which make a difference, but you're still not going to be able to cut that line accurately. And it has to be 100%. No air gap. Alright, so first of all I'll trim the excess, and I'm going to use just my trimmers, my Milwaukee trimmers, which are brilliant. Turn that camera around a little bit more. Snips just to finish that edge off in the corner. So now you can see we have, it's a bit hard to tell whether it's showing up on the camera or not, but we've got just to say, I don't know, about 8mm, 10mm of leftover there. I'll even go to the extent where I'll trim that again. Because that excess metal's gone already, it's going to be easier to trim that accurately. And get it down to even 4mm if I can, because the less that you're chopping off with, the less excess coming away when you're using tin snips, the easier the tin snips are to use. So I'll do one more pass with the nibblers. So you can see there that we're actually closer again to the actual line. Alrighty. along with the snips. Always remember the line doesn't lie. That's what I keep telling myself anyway. You can see how happy the snips are because we're only taking off a little bit of metal. When you've got a curl up a wide strip of metal, it makes it harder to cut. It's also harder to keep control. Okay, that's our line cut and it's quite accurate. We've got it to a stage where we can just see the edge. So there probably will be a little bit of finessing, but I only use a hand file to actually take little bits out. There might be a high spot somewhere that has to be run out a little bit. And for this end piece, because we can't scribe it from the inside, I just use the magnet trick and we'll run a line across there on that same line straight edge out through the panel, and that should pretty much match up to where the quarter panel is cut to anyway. So we just use the where's my thin magnet strip? Just use the magnet strip. Remember I showed you these when we were doing the roof turret. Sticks, it's old fridge magnet, and I'll just set that in position so you can see there that all I'm doing is following the line edge from the cut that we've just completed, and I'm going to run that through to there on the same line so we can get down into that groove, and that'll give us a fairly accurate cut there. Cutting it off. Down to that edge, reverse the snips, come down on this edge. Okay, so that should line up with a bit of luck. Let's give it a try. I'll turn this camera around again. And I'll fit it up. Just one more clamp on the join. Needs a little tap up with the hammer. Put the magnets on the outside of that. Okay, so we've got it clamped in position there. We've made sure it's fitting around the wheel arch the way it's supposed to fit. You have to make sure that this transition line is okay, so you can see that the wheel arch has quite got the curve around there that it should have. We don't worry about this little bit here where we couldn't get to describe it, because that can be finessed as we go, but it's very close as it is. But you can see I've got a light in behind this, and you can see there's very minimal gap. And that minimal gap there that you're seeing is that the magnets are strong, but they're not strong enough to hold it in an exact position. So you watch this, when I push up against to where it's supposed to sit, you can see the light disappear. And that's the type of join that we require to make TIG welding a good process, because we're basically just fusing the two bits of metal together. And that's how you end up with a finish, as we did on the right hand quarter panel on the other side. Just let me go around and show you that. That's kind of been finished off to a degree now. We've had to massage the quarter panel into position, lower quarter panel section into position, but you can see there that the distortion is extremely minimal. We've massaged this corner in and made it fit the way it's supposed to fit, so that the line on the side where the bar goes on is straight. We've also done the plug welding along where the spot welds are for the seam. We've done the same underneath in the bottom. See that transition of the wheel arch is quite good. You're still going to need a bit of filler, but you always need a bit of filler. If you were to file or metal finish this, it's just going to take forever. It just gets out of hand as far as money is concerned. So this has all been plug welded down here on the seam for the wheel arch. And yeah, it comes up quite nice. So this has only had a paint disc over the top of it. It hasn't been ground or sanded. So that's the type of finish you end up with the TIG. TIG doesn't throw sparks everywhere like you know, you get little droplets of metal all over it. And then when you go to grind it, man, there's some work in it. It's just, well, you know, there's time in actually setting this up to make the join perfect so that your weld goes the way you want it to go. But wow, doesn't it save some time, and just, you know, the neatness of the job when it's finished. This is the inside again. It's incredible how nice it comes up. So there's very little work afterwards of finishing off, and that's why I like to do it this way. So the join again, okay, a little bit of daylight there, but that's because it's bulged out. When you push it in, you can see it closes to where it's supposed to go. You don't want a bulge fit. If you make it too much metal here, okay, you might not have an air gap, but you may be full in the join, and when you weld that, it's going to bulge. You don't want it to do that, because you need room for a little bit of filler to go in, or for some planishing work to happen, so that you can get it to where it's supposed to be at. Anyway guys, oh, that's the other thing I just wanted to reiterate. Where's the wires? Welding wires again. Let's look at this. That's your black steel. That's what I use on the outside panels. It's soft, has the same malleability as the actual panel itself. This is ER70S mild steel wire out of the MIG. Just pull some wire out of your MIG and try and bend it in your fingers. And it's designed like that so that it goes up through the sheath in the actual cable when you're out of the wire feed off the roller off the machine. If it was soft like this, it'd just pucker up and wouldn't go anywhere, just clog up the sheath. You wouldn't get any wire out. So yeah, handheld, black steel, RG45 some people call it, but I think if you go to Blackwoods or somewhere like that, it's just black steel welding wire. Comes in a packet, cheap as chips. Anyway, that's what I use and that's why I use it. This is a section here. Where did I put that? Oh, the shed's in the mesh today, just stuff going everywhere. Is that it? That's not it. Bear with me. Oh, that's the reason why we cut these panels out. If you look at the other side of this, now to the owner, it's got 1, 2, 3 spots. Oh, can you just fix those little bits up? Not to this particular owner, but you'll get owners say, oh, it's only that and that and that. That's what it looks like on the inside, my friends. That's why we change it over. Alright, now where's this bit of metal? Oh dear, I've lost it. Here it is. Look at that. Okay, this is a test sheet. That's been TIG welded through there. That's the back side of it, the penetration. And that's just to set up the welder to see what amps to set it at. If you look right in there, is the camera going to focus? Look at that spot right there. So I can get my finger on it. You look at that spot right there. You can see that the metal's just been fused together. There's a little bit of a glitch there because of the dirty metal, but it's not too bad. You can see it's just fused together. And I just want to show you, I'm going to belt this around. I just want to show you how easy it is to move it. Let's see if we can get the camera in the right spot so you can see what's going on. There's my dolly, and I'm going to belt this bit of metal over the top of that and shape it, and you just watch. It's just incredible the difference. If you do this with something that's had MIG wire put into it, good luck. Where's my planishing hammer? Sorry people, I should be organised. Here it is, hiding over here. Like everything's hardened from me. Alright, let's go. Straight away. How good does that look? Look at the curve in that. Let's belt it a bit more. Let's put a return. Make it go the other way. Sorry about the noise. Look at the curve in that. And it hasn't changed the weld at all. It doesn't split. Just nice, just beautiful stuff. Look at the shape. So you can do that all day. That weld is just as strong as the panel metal beside it. You can shape it as much as you like, and that's why I like doing it this way. Anyway, that's the old girl. She's coming along all right. Better get back together and weld this piece in now. I'll be using my Dynasty. Okay, it's a bit upmarket. It's an expensive welder. I just happen to be lucky enough to be able to afford one of these with the work I do. But I will say, something like this, which is a weld force, and this is a WF201 TIG AC/DC, it will do you just as good a job and help you to achieve what you want to achieve. And I think this welder here now at the moment, current price is about $2,300, or might be $2,800, but a good little machine, and it's going to do the same job as that $8,000 one sitting there. I do lots of aluminium work as well, so I upgraded to this one. The miller will handle the alloy work better than what the weld force will. Anyway guys, that's the take on that, and I hope you've got something from it. Of course, if you've got any questions or queries, just shoot them into the comments section, and if I get a chance I'll try and answer for you, help you out the best way we can. After all, we want all these beautiful old cars to be back on the road. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you don't like it, tell me as well, because I'll listen to anything that anybody has to say about doing these cars. You're never too old to learn. Thanks for watching.